Are you sure?
Here's the 30-second lesson on what legends know. Never ask a bride why she's getting married. Don't wear a skirt on a windy day. Deodorant is not a shower. Don't sniff chili flakes. And don't forget, saving is not investing. Legends don't just save, they invest in mutual funds. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
As you might have seen, when I get something really cluttered to deal with, I usually reach out to one of my colleagues to help me with it. And what is better than one colleague? It is two brilliant colleagues. So I have with me Bhadra Sinha, our senior associate editor. She looks at law, judiciary, etc. Ananya Bhardwaj, associate editor. You've heard from her before, you've seen her before. She covers crime, the agencies, internal security. Those are her domains. And by this time, you might have even guessed what we are going to talk about today, for which I need help from these two bright people, these two sharp people. That is the so-called liquor scam in Delhi. Liquor scam in Delhi, which is seeing almost the entire small cabinet or the leadership of Aam Aadmi Party in jail or facing cases. Those who are not jailed, many of them are facing cases. This is a complex thing. So let me break it down into 6 questions. And these two will then answer these questions. By turn, I'll be the Sutradhar here and there. So number 1, who are the key players? You see, keep seeing these names, this Nair, that Arora. Of course, we all know Sisodia, we all know Sanjay Singh, but lots of names keep coming and going, South Group, etc. So who are these players? That is, who are the key players? That's the first question. Second question is, what is the CBI's case? And linked to that is, what is the ED's case? Obviously, when these two tell you what these cases are, they will also tell you what is the defense of Aam Aadmi Party. We will not sit in judgment over anything, but we will tell you fairly what is the case and what is the defense. Then, what started this investigation? Because something did trigger it. So what started this investigation? In fact, I might start that with that question first to give it a better sequence. Next, what is the case against Sisodia and Sanjay Singh? These are the two key people. And these are the two key people and two pillars of Aam Aadmi Party, Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh. So what are the specific cases against them? And sixth, what is it that the Supreme Court has been saying lately? It spoke yesterday quite substantively. You've seen this in the newspapers. It asked very tough questions of the agency, of the prosecution side as well. So we will go into all of these. In fact, that is the precise reason we have Bhadra here, because Bhadra covers the Supreme Court. She's a very experienced reporter on that beat. She's also a lawyer by training. So Bhadra, thank you. You could have made a lot more money as a lawyer. But I can also tell you that Bhadra, like Ananya, started out first with us in the Indian Express in our newsroom. So both are homegrown to that extent across some period of time. So that said, Ananya, if I may come to you, what started this investigation?
So first I'll just give an overview of what is this case. So this essentially pertains to irregularities and modification in now withdrawn excise policy, which according to ED and CBI both was designed in a way that it gives undue advantage to certain liquor barons, certain companies, groups, businessmen. And what were these advantages? For some, the agencies have alleged that there was a fee waiver for licenses. In some cases, it was also reduction of the license fee. Some people who were apparently blacklisted in the past were also given licenses, and who all will get the license was based on who will pay the kickbacks to Aam Aadmi Party. I mean, this is the allegation by the agencies. Now, what started this was that in July last year, on 22nd July, Delhi LG Vinay Kumar Saxena had recommended a CBI probe into this entire allegation, and the then Chief Secretary had also prepared a report. What that report said was that this policy that was charted out by Manish Sisodia was arbitrary in nature, and it was basically causing a loss to the financial losses to the exchequer. So they are saying that by giving these advantages to these liquor barons, to these businessmen, they caused basically a losses of more than 580 crore to the exchequer. That was the allegation. Another allegation was that Manish Sisodia basically went ahead with this policy arbitrarily without really consulting the key people in this. So that is when it all started, and this was given to CBI to probe, and that's how the case began.
Yeah. So you can be charged under Prevention of Corruption Act, Bhadra, whether or not you've taken any money yourself. Yes. Is that the story?
So, the interesting part in this entire CBI case is the section of criminal conspiracy, which is 120B. So as Ananya has pointed out, so the basic charge in this case is that, this policy was designed in such a manner that it gives undue advantage to a select lobby, the so-called South lobby. And this was done in lieu of certain pecuniary benefits. And where did those benefits go? According to the CBI, it went to the Aam Aadmi Party, that is AAP, and it was used, for the elections in Punjab and Goa. That is what their allegation is. So under the Corruption Act, under the Prevention of Corruption Act, under which this particular case has been registered, it is giving, it's like bribe. So what the CBI is trying to say in this case is that the Aam Aadmi Party accepted bribe.
It was quid pro quo.
Quid pro quo, that's right, quid pro quo. So it kind of took money, but it may not have gone to the leaders directly, but it went to the party at least. Of course, these leaders, being the office bearers of the party, are equally responsible. So now this is the CBI case which Ananya has spoken about. Now we have another case which is pending against the so-called key players in this case, which is by the Enforcement Directorate. And that is under...
Which looks for money laundering.
Yeah. That's right. So Enforcement Directorate, now while the CBI investigates corruption charges, Enforcement Directorate investigates the money laundering charges. Now how does the ED investigation gets, how does it kick in is, under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, you have certain scheduled offences. So in case anywhere an FIR is registered against one of those scheduled offences, ED's role automatically comes into play. Means it can suo moto on its own take notice of it.
So they get a locus standi.
That's right. They get locus standi. And this is how ED has also now come into the picture.
That's because... criminal conspiracy came in.
That's right. Criminal conspiracy aspect is there, and the corruption aspect is also there. Yeah.
Now, money. Has any money been found yet?
So, the money laundering case has been registered. ED has made arrests, several arrests, charge sheets have been filed, but no money has been found physically during so many searches. And that is also the defense of the Aam Aadmi Party, when they say that nothing has been found in these searches.
Physically or electronically, also money can be found?
Yes. Through, if you say establish a trail, and that is what the role of the investigation agency in this case is, that if you could establish a money trail, that, this much amount was paid to this person, that person, even if it is not done electronically and even if it is done through Hawala, if they are able to establish that trail, which as an investigation agency they should be able to, then it's concrete evidence. But in this case, as of now, the ED has not given any such proof to the court or relied on any such proof. In fact, they have been mostly relying on statements of the approvers. So in this case, there are two key people who have now turned approvers who were accused in this case, in the CBI and ED case, one of them being Dinesh Arora, who's a businessman. So based on their statement, the ED has essentially is proceeding with their investigation. And like Bhadra pointed out, that in the CBI's case, corruption is the main aspect because it has been registered under the Prevention of Corruption Act. And according to CBI's case, Manish Sisodia is the chief architect. That is what they have said in their charge sheet as well, that he is the chief architect of this conspiracy precisely because he was in power at that time as excise minister, and he had given a go-ahead for this excise policy. And this excise policy was basically to gather funds illegally and then channelize those illegally gathered funds to themselves. So here themselves, by themselves, they mean Aam Aadmi Party. And that is why they have listed out instances. Like, for example, they say that in the previous excise policy case, the profit margin was 5%, which was increased to 12%. Now, and this was done without any justification. Now, they are saying that in this 12%, it was decided that this 6% will be given to the South Group, which is the major cartel here. We'll be talking about that. And 6% will be going to Aam Aadmi Party as kickback. And this is what the allegation is, that many of these liquor barons also, who had a role in creating and implementing this new liquor policy, told a lot of vendors that you have to pay 6% as sum to us, 6% of your profit margin, otherwise we will cancel your license.
If the agencies say this money was paid, do the agencies say that they know how it was paid?
So in one instance, I'll just mention it briefly, there is an amount of 100 crore. So it's alleged by the agency that out of this 100 crore, 30 crore was paid through Hawala. However, they've not been able to establish the trail yet as to where this money came from. All they have is that some money came from Hyderabad, and there was a note which had a number. And one businessman named as Abhishek, he allegedly initiated that transaction.
Abhishek Boinpalli.
Yes.
Boinpalli. So, Bhadra, if you look at the law, how important is it for the agencies to find the money?
See, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, that actually gets triggered once the scheduled offense is committed, right? And, in that, interestingly, the Section 3 of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, I would just like to kind of read it out so that, for the benefit of our viewers, so that they kind of understand, because the entire questioning of the Supreme Court has been around this aspect only, the money trail. So Section 3 says, whosoever directly or indirectly attempts to indulge or knowingly assists or knowingly is a party or is actually involved in any process or activity connected with proceeds of crime, including concealment, possession, acquisition or use, and projecting or claiming it as untainted property, shall be guilty of offense of money laundering. Now, interestingly, what the ED is claiming in this case is, of course, it is based on the CBI's case, and that is, that the money has exchanged multiple hands. It has come from the South lobby. It may not have come to these people directly, but it has been channelized in such a way that it has given them some sort of benefits, means they have derived the benefits. Now, the question of proceeds of crime. That is a very important aspect in PMLA, in the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And that is exactly what was raised by the Supreme Court yesterday when it took up the appeal filed by Manish Sisodia, in which he is wanting bail in both the cases, the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate case. Now, the moot question which the court has actually posed to both these agencies is that you talk about proceeds of crime. Now, in PMLA, it is very important to link the accused either directly or indirectly to the proceeds of crime. But where is the proceeds of crime? What is the linkage between him and the proceeds of crime? As of now, we are talking about the stage right now. I mean, the investigation is an ongoing process, so we do not know. Maybe later they may come out with some.
I must say for clarity that Aam Aadmi Party, all its leaders have been saying quite unequivocally that this whole thing is a sham, that all raids, investigations have found nothing against them, that all of this is nothing but political victimization.
That's right. So to understand this, so that is why the court very specifically asked the question that how have you, at least show us some evidence to link the proceeds of crime with Mr. Sisodia. Show us something to also establish that the money came to him from this.
But before that, show us if there is any proceeds of crime.
That's right. Proceeds of crime is the crucial point, Then another point which the court has raised is a very interesting aspect. The ED, both ED and CBI have been talking about the fact that there was a policy change, that there were changes made in the policy to suit a particular lobby. The question which the court has asked, and it's a very pertinent question which it has posed to the ED and CBI, is that, okay, fine, changes in the policy can be made for good, can be made for better businesses. It can be made at the instance of a particular lobby also. But any policy, even if it may be wrong, is without money consideration that cannot be an offense. So you are talking about money consideration, but where is that money?
Yeah, because the judges said, I think Justice Khanna,
Justice Sanjeev Khanna, who's heading the bench.
He said that lobbies work all the time and people do lobby.
That's right.
So just because you were under the influence of a lobby doesn't mean
that there's an element of criminality in it.
That's
or money
only
laundering.
when there's a quid pro quo for which you have to show us proceeds of crime.
Yes. Then he also interestingly spoke about, which Ananya has pointed out, the statement made by the approver. He said, what is there apart or besides the statement made by the approver? Then he also questioned that there is very specific allegation against Vijay Nair, through whom the money was allegedly
I
challenged.
Before we come to that, I will interrupt you and shift to Ananya, because once we start mentioning these characters, South Lobby, Vijay Nair, we first have to explain our cast of characters. So who are the key players?
So it's a long list, but I've just picked a few. One is Vijay Nair, we've been talking about.
He
him.
was the head of the media section of Aam Aadmi Party.
Yes, he was actually handling all the media campaigns for Aam Aadmi Party. And interestingly, he was a person who had been running an events company, and you must have heard the name of them as well.
They did some controversial shows, some quite funny also. Then there was many issues, and then I think that combination broke up.
Yes, and then he was also the band manager of this indie music acts Pentagram, which was very popular. So he had been associated with Aam Aadmi Party for a long time, and in fact, the allegation against him being that he influenced the policy. This new policy that came about, and basically he told them who are the vendors, and how he actually handpicked those vendors and those businessmen who should be given these licenses. I mean, that is the allegation. And then, of course, this 100 crore was paid through him. So this is the allegation against Vijay Nair. Then there is one person called Amandeep Dhal, who's the director of Brindco Sales, and he was also arrested by
That's
ED.
A liquor company.
That's a liquor
marketing company.
Yes, that's a liquor marketing company. And he is also an associate of Sameer Mahendru. His name I will just mention in a bit. According to ED, he was also actively engaged in the implementation and framing of this new policy. Now, the third character whose name we saw in the news just 2 days ago, Dinesh Arora, he is basically the owner
Third person, I prefer person to character.
Okay, sorry. Third person, Dinesh Arora, and he is also a businessman. He owns a lot of restaurants. One popular restaurant, the chain is Unplugged Courtyard. So and he has a big circle. So one allegation which ED has made, and he's the person who was turned approver in this case. So Dinesh Arora is this person who allegedly introduced a lot of these liquor barons to Sanjay Singh, who was arrested. And there are also allegations that he encouraged a lot of these restaurant owners to give money for Aam Aadmi Party. So he apparently held one party at Unplugged
But that could be a
Courtyard.
fundraiser.
Yes, like a fundraiser. But this this ED has said that he was raising money illegally, which eventually went to Manish Sisodia. So that is the allegation. Now, then there is the fourth person, Amit Arora, who's also a businessman. He's also promoter of liquor company, Buddy Retail. And he is also associated with Dinesh Arora. He's they have done business together. And the role of Amit Arora being that he wanted to meet Manish Sisodia. The ED charge sheet says that he wanted to meet Manish Sisodia for certain requests. And Dinesh Arora told him that I will make you meet Manish Sisodia through Sanjay Singh. So they apparently met at Sanjay Singh's residence quite a few times. And so Amit Arora, in fact, was told that allegedly by Sanjay Singh that I will make you meet Manish Sisodia, but for that you will have to include Vivek Tyagi, who is a personal assistant to Sanjay Singh in your business, and you will have to give him some stake. So this also ED said was like a quid pro quo, and then eventually Amit Arora did meet Manish Sisodia. Then the next person is Sameer Mahindra. He is the director of Indospirit. Indospirit is a very popular, again, liquor company.
Liquor marketing company.
Yes, marketing company. He, ED said, was actively involved in formulating the excise policy, basically influencing it. And it was Sameer Mahindra's Indospirit in which Vijay Nair had stakes, and basically Sameer Mahindra was the link between the South Group and Vijay Nair. So this is what the ED says. ED in fact has also mentioned in their charge sheet that he wanted to meet Arvind Kejriwal, CM Arvind Kejriwal. He could not meet, but then they had a FaceTime call with each other.
And that FaceTime call is the contentious one.
Yes. Where he says that, where he talks about Vijay Nair saying that he is my boy, so he will help you out. That's the.
But how does anybody know if the FaceTime call was between them?
That's what they are saying, that they have logs of the call. However, again, Sameer Mahindra in his statement apparently has said that I did have. So a lot of it is based on the statement these accused have given.
And what is the South Group?
South Group, I'm coming to that next. South Group is basically a group of people that has key businessmen, politicians. And the key person is K Kavitha, who's KCR's daughter.
The alleged key person is K Kavitha.
Of the South Group. So the South Group, they have made it out to be this cartel in the ED investigation charge sheet.
In Hyderabad.
In Hyderabad. So one person is Manguta Reddy, the YSRCP Lok Sabha MP from Andhra Pradesh.
Manguta Srinivasalu Reddy.
Yes. K Kavitha, who's KCR's daughter. One Arun Pillai, who is a Hyderabad-based businessman. Raghav Manguta, son of Mr. Reddy, the YSRCP MP. And it is said that Raghav is also a key person in the conspiracy of this cartelization and kickbacks. Then there is Bucci Babu, who is the CA, and he has been a CA of K Kavitha, and he has also been arrested by the CBI. Then there is P. Sarath Chandra Reddy, who is the director of Aurobindo Pharma, and he has also turned approver in the Delhi Excise case. Then there is Abhishek, who we spoke about earlier. He used to, in this transaction, this 100 crore transaction that we spoke about, ED has mentioned in its charge sheet that he used to give a currency note number and the mobile number to Dinesh Arora. And then Dinesh Arora used to collect the funds through Hawala. That's how it works. You give a note number and then they go to the concerned person, the Hawala dealer, and get the money. So that's what they say. Now, when we talk about involvement of South Group, this South Group initially, basically Mahendra allegedly told ED that it was Nair who basically put him in touch with the South Group. This was a group of people who were interested in putting in money, and they had deep pockets, so they wanted to put in money in the Delhi liquor businesses. And they told him that we have a lot of money and we are interested in tapping that market, and that's how they came into the picture. And that's what the main allegation also is, that Manish Sisodia and others, these businessmen, basically promoted South Group, this cartel, by promising this licenses.
Because it's alleged that there was a quid pro quo there.
Yes.
And the quid pro quo allegedly was for Aam Aadmi Party. Yes. So right now the allegation is not that anybody took the money personally.
No.
Not yet. Not yet. That's an important distinction. Also, to try and understand what's the whole issue about the liquor policy. Delhi, for the longest time, has not had private companies selling liquor. In Delhi, liquor has been sold by the government. Right, the biggest bootlegger in our country is the government. There are many states where government has the monopoly of selling liquor. So in Delhi, it was done by Delhi Tourism Development Corporation. It was very shabby. You walked in, it was like you were going into a place of ill repute. Right, you walked in dark places. Sometimes you had to shove your hand inside a window into a darkened shop, and there was very little variety available. So most people who buy alcohol prefer to buy in Gurgaon and Noida. So both the neighboring states of Delhi, Uttar Pradesh with Noida, Greater Noida, and Haryana mostly with Gurgaon, but other parts in other directions also towards Sonipat, they took advantage of this situation and they gave licenses to private sector which set up humongous liquor shops, large liquor shops, bigger than many duty-free shops you've seen at large airports. So a lot of Delhi was buying its liquor from those shops. In the process, revenues which should have come to Delhi government, they were actually being given away to UP and Haryana government. So this was Delhi government's effort to bring those revenues back in Delhi. The allegation is that while that was all right, but they, quote unquote, twisted the policy in such a way that it will benefit some particular companies. So the court in this hearing, Supreme Court, how does it take this case forward? Because right now everybody's been going to trial court, high court, all bail is being denied.
Yeah. So, we must understand one thing, that at the moment, the matter, especially Manish Sisodia's matter in the Supreme Court, is with regard to his bail application.
Exactly.
So, as of now, we are not talking about the merits of the case or the investigation because, as I mentioned earlier, the investigation is still on. It continues to stay, it continues to be on even after filing of the charge sheet. But the reason why the Supreme Court is asking so many questions is because under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, grant of bail is very difficult. It's a tough provision. It's a strict law where there is a twin condition which has to be followed before bail is given. And those two conditions are that first the court has to hear out the public prosecutor extensively, elaborately. And the court has to, frame a prima facie opinion that the person seeking bail under PMLA is innocent. So the court is required to go into the merits of the case, which is there at present.
Because of the kind of law PMLA is,
right,
where the burden on proving innocence is on the accused instead of the burden of proving guilt being on the prosecution.
That's right. Unlike the other cases that are registered under the IPC or for that matter, the Prevention of Corruption Act, unlike those cases in PMLA, these twin conditions are there, this particular test is very difficult to satisfy. Hence, the court has to look into the evidence so far collected by the investigating agencies to determine whether Manish Sisodia is entitled to bail at this stage or not. So whatever observations and comments come out in this case, it can have a bearing on the other arrests as well. Especially in the arrest where people continue to be in the jail, not in the case where people have got bail.
So right now, the judges have raised questions about the quality of this evidence.
That's right, quality of the evidence. To kind of come to a prima facie conclusion whether there is involvement or not. So to say that it can have a bearing on the trial is too early to comment on it, because trial is a very different procedure.
Right. But this is right now only about bail.
That's right. But interestingly, as many people say that, the entire process of ED investigation under PMLA is actually a punishment in itself. Yeah. Because it's a continuous investigation. It can go on for like months, for years. And because of this twin condition, which makes bail very difficult in PMLA, people continue to languish in jail.
So the judges also said about some evidence that this will not last 2 minutes in cross-examination. What was that?
So essentially, they were also referring to the same thing, that your the lack of evidence. They are saying that your case is totally based on the statement of Dinesh Arora, that businessman that we just spoke about. And how is it that you don't have any other evidence except the statement of a person who himself was an accused in the case?
And who's now become an approver.
Who has now become an approver. Yes, and that is what Aam Aadmi Party has also been saying, that based on the statement of one person who himself was an accused, you are arresting Sanjay Singh. And why did it take you so long to arrest him? Till now, you didn't have any evidence. So just because Dinesh Arora has turned approver in this case, and now he has said all these things about Sanjay Singh, you're making this arrest. So this is also the point what Aam Aadmi Party raised and questioned this arrest with.
Because what happens is normally whenever a statement is given, it has to be established with the chain of evidence. just a mere statement of somebody cannot, I mean, of course, for arresting a person, it may be sufficient, you know, but when you go and face a case during the trial, just a mere statement of somebody is not sufficient or enough to indict the other person. You need to have evidence to support that statement.
And that is what they said, that what will be the evidence that you will corroborate this statement with when when the cross examination starts, it's going to fall flat. That's what
I would just like to point out another point, you know, in the sense that the court made very interesting observation. It said that, you know, in money laundering cases, the entire the manner in which the money is channeled is actually kept under wraps. It's layered. Yeah. But that is where the competence of the enforcement director comes into picture. And that is why this agency was created or formed. And so what has the ED really done to prove this competence of its?
Yeah. What have you found?
Yeah.
So I think that's a reasonably serious note for us to conclude this conversation on. This investigation in this case will go on for some time, and I suspect there will be more occasions when I have to draw on the skills and experience of both these wonderful people.